Well, hello there. I'm going to be using a different approach for my videos. So today I'm going to discuss about the strategies or the steps which you should take to choose your first distro when you enter the Linux world. Nowadays, most people are switching to Linux because they're working from home, and might be that their official computers which they had used to run on Linux, but from the code they actually don't have any idea about how to install Linux or how Linux works. So this video is made for those people who want to switch to Linux but are confused among the ocean of distros, which distro should be best for them. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, things to consider. Well, according to me, you should have a clear vision about the purpose of your switching, the work for which you will be using your distro, and the commitment. The commitment is that you need to make a commitment to the free and open source community that whatever goes wrong, I'm going to stick with it and I'm going to make it better. I'm not going to cry for why is Adobe not in Linux. I'm not going to cry why is this software or this proprietary thing is not available in my distro, because it's Linux. It's not like Windows. If many people switch to Linux, then those proprietary companies might start developing softwares for our Linux counterparts. So you need to make a commitment to yourself. Next up, we have what you need to know before you get started. So there's no single operating system named Linux. This is a shocker for many people. I know that in Windows, for example, we have like Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 98, or Windows 8. That was a blast in the shell. So then we have like Mac OS 10 gazillion number of Mac OSs. So, but in Linux world, we don't have any particular operating system named Linux. What we actually have is the kernel. So I will be telling about kernel a bit shortly later, but Linux is actually the kernel or the brains. So as I said earlier, there can be thousands of operating systems which are based off of Linux kernel. You can just Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo it like LFS. It's Linux from scratch, where it's a holy grail documentation book which will guide you to create your own Linux distro, customized only to your work. Like many big companies have their own Linux distro, which they customize according to their employees' needs or employers' needs. So up next, we have what is a kernel. So a kernel is a computer program at the core of a computer's operating system with complete control over everything in the system, and blah blah blah. You can just read it all over the internet. The official definition, I just copy pasted it on the slide. So TLDR is the brains of a computer. So after the bootloader starts, it just pings the kernel. It wakes it up like wake up kernel and start all the processes in your system, like your Wi-Fi, your internet, your display manager, graphics card drivers, everything. It just loads. So this is the kernel, and it's the Linux kernel, which all of the Linux distros or distributions, should I say, use. So up next, don't choose a distro just because of its looks. Yes, it might be somewhat shell-shocking to hear for many newbies. For example, in Windows, you can see that Windows 7 looks quite different from Windows 10. Windows 8 looks different from Windows 10. Heck, even Windows XP looks different from Windows 10. There's a gradual UI difference among all of the versions. Same case goes for Mac OS also. Like your user interface or user experience is quite different among the various versions. But this is not the case in case of Linux-based distributions. we have what is called a desktop environment or window managers. So if I'm not sure, okay, so this is not it. Okay, so we have like all of this as modular. Think of it as modular components. Like your UI is different, your kernel is different, your drivers are different modules, so you can just interchange anything with anything. So you can mix and match up. So it's actually not due to the looks why you should choose a Linux distribution. You can just put any distro's theme into any other distro's theme, or heck, you can customize your completely new theme based upon your skill level. So up next, so moving towards the path of choosing our right distro, I want to announce that currently there are three major players. Many other players might be there like OpenSUSE and LFS and all. Gentoo is also there, but these three, Debian, Red Hat and Arch Linux, are the most common actually. So Debian is actually the most common, Red Hat second, and Arch Linux, it's actually for different taste of people. For like, you know, not the average Linux users. So it's actually customizable. Arch Linux is actually more customizable than Debian and Red Hat. So Debian is actually the most stable among all of these. Red Hat is also stable, but it comes with another flavor like Fedora or CentOS. So Fedora is actually the test bench of Red Hat. CentOS is the free version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and you all might be familiar with Ubuntu, which is a Debian based distro. It's Debian based but actually not Debian, and due to its overpopularity among the newbie Linux users, the popularity of Ubuntu actually rises ahead of Debian. Then moving on, we have Arch Linux. So Arch Linux is actually for the Linux users with art. So yeah, I mean, if you want to customize your system to the bits and pieces, switch to Arch. But Arch Linux has quite a learning curve. There's also a friendlier version of Arch Linux called MANJARO, which I am currently using. Okay, so next up, ways to install software in all of the Linux distributions. I will just generalize it all. Okay, so all Debian based distros like Debian, Ubuntu, Pop! OS, Linux Mint, these are all based or derived from Debian. So these all have like their style of package managers. So again, this is also a new thing to Linux users. We have like package managers, like terminal commands from which we can install any software we want. So Debian based distros, or even Debian, is based on like .deb packages. There's also a terminal utility called apt-get, or which is being currently merged to only apt or aptitude. Then we have like third-party PPA system. So these are the three things, three ways officially from which you can install. There's also like build from source. You can actually build any software from source in any of the Linux distributions. So it just removes the barrier of installation of softwares if it's available on if the binaries are compatible with Linux, then it is installable in any distribution. So there's that. Then we have Red Hat based like Fedora, CentOS and Red Hat. There might be some other distros, but then they may not be that much of use. So by default we have like Yum and RPM. So from Yum you can there's the new thing called DNF also, DNF and DNF Dragora. Okay, I missed it, but DNF is also there. So RPM is the like community version of DNF, so it's also provide packages but not official. It provides like community based packages. Next up we have Arch Linux. So and Arch Linux-based distros like MANJARO. So Arch Linux basically has Pacman and AUR builders. Pacman is the official package manager of Arch-based distros, and AUR is the holy grail of all package managers. So it's called Arch Users Repository, and it needs some builder add-ons or applications, you may say. So we have Yay and Trizen, which most people use these days to build AUR packages. Now, one of the distros which I have also used, and this recording is being done on MANJARO itself. So MANJARO has their own way of like making certain apps like PAMAC and Octopi. PAMAC is the GTK version and Octopi is the Qt version. So these two enable you to give you a GUI interface to install packages from Pacman and also from AUR. So if you are scared of terminal, you may use these. Okay, so almost all of the softwares or apps are available among these package managers, which are available for Linux. If it's not available, you can just build it from source. The developer should give instructions to build it from source. Yeah, so when I say source, the code must be hosted somewhere like GitHub or Git from some personal Git or from GitLab. So you can build it from that source, like your make files and everything else. So you know the rest. Now for the looks, we have desktop environments. This is something new. So the most popular ones I have just given the logos like GNOME, KDE, LXD, and XFCE. So the last two are the most lightweight desktop environments, which consume like around 500 megs. I mean, the full system boots up with 500 megs of RAM maybe. So and GNOME and KDE are a bit on the higher RAM usage side. So I would recommend, if you are using GNOME, minimum 4 gigs of RAM for a smoother performance. Might run on 2 gigs. KDE also same story, and many more desktop environments are also there. Then there's this window managers. This is not for everybody, but if you want to get it on the pro side, you will eventually switch to window managers sooner or later. I use i3 myself, and also I've tried DWM. Now I'm going to post some screenshots of the various configurations made by various Linux users over on r/Unix porn. So if you don't like those, just skip around. I will put the timer here. Okay, so time for my personal recommendation. So in my past, I have tried various stable distributions like Debian, Ubuntu, and many other rolling release distributions like Fedora, and then Arch, and many more. So I have distro hopped in my past to find out that one distro on which I can really stick as my daily driver. So for the past few months, I have been stuck with MANJARO. It's a rolling release distro. Now, why chose MANJARO? Why not Arch? Many questions might come to people's mind. So actually, I was bored of like stable LTS releases of distros. They don't facilitate many features which the rolling release distros get faster, like better driver support, better support for hardware. Then also there's like the updated versions of softwares, the desktop environments get updated more frequently, and many more. So the list goes on and on. So finally I am stuck with two distros. On my another computer I have Fedora, and on this one I have Manjaro. Manjaro provides like an easier interface for Arch. Now Arch Linux installation is actually quite complicated for beginners, and also if you are frequently formatting your computer, Arch Linux installation can be a little bit pain if you are not using any like automated scripts. So when customizing your Linux environment, like I do all kinds of customization all the time. So there's a high chance of messing up your distribution. So for example, every month I have to almost once or twice I have to format my computer, my main computer, because I do so much customizations that something or another gets wrong with my system. So installing Arch Linux every few days is not an easy task for me, or I'm not actually that much pro. So I switched to Manjaro. I'm sticking with Manjaro as my daily driver for this reason. So PAMAC provides a beautiful interface for me to search the softwares. So this is also another reason. Moreover, like I prefer YouTube music over anything else. So they have this YouTube music Electron app on Snap as a Snap app, not as a generic binary installed file. So all of these are not supported in one distro or the other. Like you can have Ubuntu, but Ubuntu is like not a rolling release distro. So I'm stuck with here with Manjaro for now, because Manjaro provides Flatpak support, Snapd, as well as AUR and Pacman. If you have AUR, you mustn't need anything else. So that's why my recommendation will be Manjaro once and for all. Probably in the near future I might switch to any other distro, or possibly I can make some distro like Luke Smith. So I'm a big fan of the guy Luke Smith, so hit him up also if you are here in this channel. So thank you for being with me in this guide. So my real name is actually Jash, so there's that. And thank you all. See you next time. Peace.